Well, hey there, Pastor Jim. This is AJ Acker, Director of Music here at Salem Heights Church, and I am responding to your request to get some pictures of some of the stage stuff that we have done here. And so I figured it might be easier just to do a little video here as opposed to type it all in an email. And it's just for me, it's just the sake of saving time, and I can talk through stuff a lot quicker than I can type. And so this here obviously is our choir shell that's in the middle. We had actually an acoustic engineer come in and tell us one way that we could get our choir sound out into the house a little bit easier is by having a choir structure send sound out. Now that was why we brought him in. We knew that we wanted some sort of a structure. We knew that it would help us to get the sound out because our choir was kind of getting lost within the band, and it was really hard to push them enough to get the sound out. And so he had suggested a couple of different things that have worked in the past for different projects he's done. And one of those is, he said, to put back corners on the choir structure and as well as a roof structure. That'll really help send sound out. And we found that we got 30% more sound out in the auditorium immediately when we had done that. We already had the back panels, but we didn't have the roof, and we didn't have the back corners. He said it's all about corners. Corners send sound outward. And so the other thing he had mentioned was the fence in front. Now we like the fence in front just for modesty. For one, we can kind of throw stuff back there, not have it be seen. But the other thing is we generally have the men in the back and the ladies in the front two risers, and now the guys in the back can actually hear the ladies sing because the sound comes out of their mouth and not just goes into the auditorium, but it hits that wall in the front and bangs to the back. This is actually a real temporary thing for us, which is, I call it more of our temporary permanent structure until we have some money to do something much nicer and a little bit more portable, but it is what it is for now. In here we wanted to make sure that we had hard surfaces on the floor, and eventually really these risers should all be hard as well, so it'll help reflect sound around a little bit better. Over here we have kind of more of our woodwinds, which include our saxophone players, our flute players. We have our violins over here. We have our French horn over here. We have our clarinets over here. And then we have our brass in the back row. What we've found is we weren't able to get the natural sound of each instrument through the sound system and have it come through very clearly and very, I guess, accurately sounding or sounding like the acoustic sound of the instrument. And so what we've tried to do is actually create a way to try to get some of the sound off the stage, because as you can tell, we have a very dead stage. So this stage, without any structures on it, just absorbs sound like crazy, which is good for the other side of the stage, which I'll show you in just a second, but it's bad for our acoustic instruments, which we would like to hear more naturally acoustically off the stage, and this has helped immensely. So what we had done is kind of the same idea as the choir structure. We put a hard floor down in this area here. Actually, this section of folks here, which is everybody but our trumpets and our trombones. It's everybody else who plays an instrument that's not going to be quite as loud. They were having trouble hearing themselves, and we kind of kept messing around with trying to get monitors louder, and what the problem was that we ran into is, of course, the monitors kept getting louder and louder until nobody could hear anything at all. And so what we've done is try to liven up the space acoustically so the sound reflects around inside of this box here, so that everybody within this box can hear each other play acoustically, as opposed to trying to do it electronically with monitors. And so that's what we've done here. Obviously the folks in the back row get the sound from the front row by it reflecting off that front wall and back to the back row. And so it actually, since we've done this, our congregation has said that we have a kind of an added new dimension to our sound, just because they are now hearing almost a stereo sound where they're hearing instruments coming acoustically off the stage over here, which we also are miking those for support, but as opposed to having it all be mic'd completely and trying to deaden the stage and trying to have the approach that no sound should come off the stage into the auditorium. We actually did quite the opposite over here, where we want the sound to come off the stage as much as possible and support it with microphones so the people in the back corners can hear what's going on over here as well. Same idea up here for our trumpets and trombones. We put a hard panel board behind them so that sound will kind of be shoved forward. Any sound that goes backwards would be shoved forward out into the main auditorium. to the seating area. Over here is where we have essentially our more our louder electrical instruments like electric guitar, our bass guitar, our acoustic guitar. We have a mandolin player sits here. And of course over here you want everything to be deadened. Our drum set. We have wanted on this side of the stage to try to kill the sound coming off the stage as much as possible and have it only coming through the sound system, through the subwoofers and the main speakers. And so that's what we've done here. The piano is one thing that we'd like to have come off the stage a little bit more acoustically as well, but we couldn't fit everybody on that side that was going to be an acoustic instrument, so we have the piano over here as well. Same with our percussion section with our timpani and some of the different instruments that they're playing. We support the sound over here with that microphone there, but she can play loud enough where people can hear her off the stage at times as well. So that's kind of the approach that we have on this side of the stage. Now Jim had made mention of some covers to kind of cover up amps, and really what those little covers are these they're actually light shields, and we had just built those just to try to cover up the shield. So if you come over here and you're sitting down in the auditorium, you're really not going to see that light just because it's kind of blocked by a cover. You could use that for around amps too if you wanted to, of course, but when Jim was here, they were actually right up here on the front of the stage, and we were using them to shoot light up into up onto the choir structure, just kind of as a backdrop. The week after Jim left, we actually took him and we've shot him up on the ceilings to try to get more ambient light in here, and so we have these lights reflecting off of the ceiling panels now. We don't have those lights on right now. I just have the work lights on in this auditorium, but that's essentially what those are that he was alluding to in the email that he sent me. So I'm kind of going to look down the list here to see what else was interested in seeing. I guess we have real similar rooms. Pastor Jim was saying that we have real similar rooms. We have parallel walls on either side of the room, and so without that acoustic treatment, we were getting, actually I was told 7 claps. You could clap once and get 7 times. You could count back and forth. What this has done is actually deaden the auditorium a little bit more than what we would like. We'd like to have a little bit more natural reverb to the room, but you can see there's so much treatment on the walls that it's really killed the sound, and so it really makes congregational singing hard to hear, because you can see there's soft surfaces everywhere. The chairs are cloth. We have carpet on the floor. We even have the front of the stage carpeted. All of it was to deaden sound, but what I don't think was realized would happen in the initial design is that it would really kill the congregational singing. So we're actually in the process now of removing some of the softer materials. The 3 panels up in that front corner, we're going to actually eliminate those. We're going to put some hard covers over the top of those to try to give the congregation a little bit more of a voice in this room, so when they sing out, they can hear themselves. We've got a nice hard wall there, but everything else that they're singing into and at is just curtains and anything that really won't send sound back but absorb sound. And so, but I'm told our booth is the same as your guys' booth. Pastor Jim had mentioned that you guys had brought the booth, at least the soundboard, to the floor, which is something we would love to be able to do for the same reason that he had mentioned that you guys had done that, just so you can hear really what the congregation member is hearing. As of now, we do the best that we can. During our rehearsals, we have our sound guys. They'll make adjustments upstairs, get it to where they think it's going to be good. They'll run down to the floor and go back up and make other adjustments as needed. But we would love to be able to have our soundboard on the floor. But at the same time, of course, we know that this way everything's a little bit more concealed, and so folks won't be seeing it. But at the same time, I know there are obviously a lot of folks now, when they're building buildings, they're putting their soundboard right in the middle of the room, right? So they're going to hear exactly what everybody else is hearing. So you have more of a consistency in your sound and in your mix. So anyhow, I think that's about all. If there's any other questions, just feel free to give me a holler and I can shoot you guys an email if you have any other questions about what we're doing here. So thanks. Bye-bye.